Good morning, everyone. Still Redneck. It's September 11th, 2021, 20-year anniversary of 9/11. I'm hearing all this happy talk from politicians, how no threat, no threat, no threat. I just figured I'd kind of try to make a calm one today, discuss the world as I see it. 20 years ago, we all came together because our great country was attacked inside our borders. We all stood together in sorrow, anger. Didn't matter what skin color we had. Didn't matter what differences you had with your neighbor. We were all shocked and dismayed that this happened. Now we fast forward 20 years, and now we got families against families, politicians we don't trust. They're trying to segregate everything else and call it equality, which makes no sense. In my mind, and I could be wrong because I'm not an educated man, just a working fellow. But if you did an honest day's work, you got an honest day's pay. If you didn't like it, you could talk to somebody to find another job. If you weren't happy with where you were at. But looking around the world today, now it seems like everybody wants to take offense at everything. Some people think they're allowed to have their opinion, but nobody is allowed to argue with them or discuss another way of looking at it. You got school districts that are trying to bring back segregation, only they call it critical race theory. And people say, well, that's not what they're doing. Well, I believe it is. When you're trying to pit one race, one skin color against another, blame one for all the problems of the other, and all that, that's called segregation in my book. Kind of the same thing with the vax and the unvaccinated. But like we'll go to these school districts that are turning around changing the grading for schools. If you're white, you're graded differently than you are if you're black. If you're black, they've lowered the test scores required for black and brown and indigenous and all the people they figure, can't handle learning. All right, now, being dumb like I am, maybe you can explain this to me. If you lower the results you expect to have from somebody, aren't you lowering their expectations? Aren't you lowering their intelligence factor, or at least thinking they're dumb? Just because a person lives in what you would call an impoverished part of the town doesn't mean they're stupid. Doesn't mean they can't learn. If they go to the school and they put forth the effort, they can learn. You are turning around, these educated people are turning around, in my mind, are handicapping what they consider the disadvantaged youth by lowering the standards than they are trying to bring them up. The teachers don't want to teach because that would put forth effort. Not all teachers, but a lot of teachers. It just seems to me that you're automatically expecting a certain race to not understand the work. So you're handicapping them more. Now, if that's not discrimination by a different name, then I don't know what is. You expect a higher grade point average out of whites than you do any other race. But so the way I'm understanding it is if a kid doesn't come to school, but he completes 50% of the grade, he's going to pass. Whereas if a white didn't come to school and completes 50% of the grade, he's not going to pass. Now, if that's not discrimination, I don't know what is. And the same thing with these companies that are turning around saying, oh, well, we have to have this critical race thinking because we have to turn around and stop with the white privilege. I'm still waiting for somebody to explain to me what white privilege is. All my life I've been taught you work for what you get. Nobody hands you anything for free. The problem nowadays is we as adults, or the older generation, did not want our children to have to work as hard as we had to provide, I think. We wanted to have the latest big hip-hop gizmo or newest form of $150 tennis shoes just because some sports star has their name on it, just because that makes them cool in class. Oh, you don't want to discipline your kids? The government says, oh, you can't. Let us do it. Oh, your kid doesn't want to study math. Well, that's okay. We'll make it easier for him. You know, and teachers for years, my kid's a prime example of that, were passed without doing the work. They didn't want to keep them back a year because they might affect them. You know, I think you're going the wrong direction, people. Instead of tearing this country apart with race problems that don't exist unless you make them, maybe we ought to start learning how to stand together. Maybe we all ought to start working together. All these people that are going around with hyphenated races, like Indian American, Chinese American, Afro American, Latin American, whatever, take the damn hyphen out. If you're an American, say you're an American. We're all one people here. Quit letting all these so-called educated talking heads create a problem that doesn't exist. Yeah, have we had problems in the past? Yes. Have we made inroads at fixing it? Yes. Fixing it does not mean tearing down the history or trying to forget it. Or even worse, let's pay people for what happened 200 years ago. That's not the answer, people. Any more than it's an answer of the government telling people to stay unemployed and we'll pay you extra money. This country is dying because people don't give a damn anymore. People don't want to work for anything, but they want to bitch about the prices they have to pay at the grocery store, or the fact they have to pay their rent. If you wake up and realize that all this stuff of not paying rent and sticking the landlords with the mortgages and all that stuff, the only people you're making rich on that are the bankers when they foreclose on everything. When they foreclose on that apartment building you're living in, you think they're going to put up with you not paying rent? I don't think so. So what's everybody going to do? Move into subsidized government housing? You think the government's going to be a better landlord than the one you got? I've lived in government housing. It ain't better than living with a landlord. At least you got a better chance of getting something fixed. You know? We could fix the problems in this country if we all work together. Quit listening to these unions. Quit listening to the government. You know, the government right now, in my opinion, is trying to force everybody to fight with everybody so we don't watch what they're doing. You know, if you look at these spending bills they're throwing out, a lot of it's all pork. Like, why does Pelosi need $250 million for a park in the Presidio? Simply because it's her district. What's this plan AOC has for this Green New Deal where everybody's going to drive electric cars or ride bicycles to work? When's the last time any of us tried to ride a bike 30 miles to get to work? Oh, I know, now we're all going to live in government housing right next to our job. Well, I'm not going to get on because I get my blood pressure up too much. I'm going to end it this way. I respect everybody that was over in Afghanistan. Welcome home. I want you to hold your head up high. You did your job. You did what you were asked to do. That's all you can do. Some of you came back whole and hearty. Some came back hurt. Some came back in caskets. You did your job. Hold your head up high. This vet's proud of you. The country should be proud of you. You didn't let us down. The government let you down. I think the meaning of this message, I want everybody, if you can, to start paying attention to what both the Democrats and the Republican are saying and look for their end game. What are they initially after? And what's it going to cost this country? For now, this is the old redneck wishing all to remember 9/11 and what brought us together. Remember that day with all the people in New York standing together trying to save other Americans. It didn't matter what race, religion, or creed they were. And if you remember the photos, they were all gray. Just think of it that way. We're all one people in this country. The greatest damn country as far as I'm concerned, no matter what the politicians are trying to do to it. So let's keep America the way it was. United. We have a lot of enemies out there, people. Let's not turn our back on them. Let's yell redneck. We're out.